Hello, my name is Tom Hughes, and I'm the Executive Director of the Illinois Public Health Association. Whereas coronavirus disease 2019, a novel, severe, acute illness has rapidly spread throughout Illinois, resulting in the unnecessary loss of life, loss of economic stability, and increasing behavioral health struggles, and new trauma exposure to every age, gender, and ethnicity. This has resulted in an increasing public health disaster and acceleration of the current legal, educational, health, and social systems volatility. And
whereas dysfunction of neurological, endocrine, and other polyvagal mechanisms in the body can lead to chronic and severe physical and mental illness with severe associated costs. The effects of trauma exposures on humans are detailed in research over the last 2 decades, from the evolving sciences of neuroscience, molecular biology, public health, genomics, and epigenetics, revealing that experiences such as community trauma, individual trauma, and pandemic trauma result in significant impacts at the micro, meso, and macro system levels. And
whereas the vast short-term impact of COVID-19 has led to a surge in suicides, overdose on drug and alcohol, abuse, neglect, and general anxiety and depression. The collateral damage continues to impact the daily living of individuals and functionality due to the increasing isolation and loneliness which continues to be experienced. Beyond facing the barriers which have been present, pre-pandemic individuals are now facing barriers that are magnified relating to access to care and the unprecedented interruptions to existing care for existing mental illness. And
whereas the continued short-term impact of COVID-19 has been well discussed, but the long-term impact, while it may be able to be predicted, is still not fully known and comprehended. By proactively anticipating, applying evidence-based knowledge, and listening closely to the stories of those affected, we understand that public health must take a capacity-building and foundational approach to the development, dissemination, and supportive programs that have been demonstrated or can lead the way toward addressing these long-term impacts, including addressing the emerging and growing mental and physical health needs and epigenetic impact. And
whereas COVID-19 not only affects society at a cellular level, but also leads to social and economic devastation, including the impact it has on families' basic safety and security needs, and also the ability to achieve adequate food, water, warmth, and rest, as well as the inequality in meeting children's individual educational needs for building the hope and strength of our future. At a time when individuals are struggling with the loss of power and the ability to care for themselves and their families, it is essential to address the social, mental, physical, financial, and educational short-term and long-term costs of this pandemic, with special attention paid to trauma caused on micro, meso, and macro level systems. It is no longer acceptable to only embrace resilience, but to defeat the malignancy of history and man-made odds. And
whereas it is necessary now, more than ever, that everyone has a fair and just opportunity to be healthy, not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. It is vital to recognize the overwhelming impact of the current pandemic situation and the resulting overall trauma it has had on our communities, families, state, economy, overall health, and mental well-being. Understanding, supporting, and recognizing that the siloed approach to policy and support of the past no longer fits into our present, and committing to farther health equality and sustainable strengthening of the public health system is imperative for healing of every individual in our state. And
whereas other states such as Wisconsin, California, Massachusetts, Missouri, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Washington have focused primarily on bipartisan efforts to build trauma-informed states, Illinois will benefit from adapting and moving forward to achieve a healing-centered approach that is more effective and less costly to quickly respond and facilitate the development of a neighborhood-by-neighborhood evidence-based direction. Communities can collectively experience trauma, much like individuals, but communities should be the leading resource, therefore be it.
Resolved by the Senate of the 102nd General Assembly of the State of Illinois, the House of Representatives concurring herein that policy decisions enacted by the Illinois State Legislature will acknowledge and take into account the principles of trauma whenever possible and will consider the concepts of toxic stress, early adversity, and buffering relationships, and note the role of the early intervention and investment in trauma-informed policies, leading to a healing-centered environment. Illinois will join the ranks of a national movement currently led by 13 states to be trauma-informed and will transfer into the first healing-centered state to close the empathy gap as important strategies to achieve a lasting foundation for a more prosperous and sustainable state through investing in human capital are implemented, and be it further.
Resolved that Illinois will invest in technological connectivity that includes detailed information and resources on trauma-informed care, standards for providing evidence-based trauma-informed treatment, peer-to-peer networking, and creation of belonging through narrative expression. This will happen by the development of a bidirectional communication tool that is accessible to communities through all of Illinois. And be it further,
resolved that Illinois will move from a siloed individual approach to a collaborative, person-oriented healing approach to identify, strengthen, and empower individuals and communities to craft a future positive history of Illinois. Illinois will light the way by creating a healing capacity building center housed at a public health association in Illinois to provide consultation to educational, legal, health, and other institutions and agencies, including but not limited to needs assessment, observation, individual and group debriefing, and ongoing coaching and mentoring.
The goal is not to recreate, but to act as a catalyst for supporting existing services for programming to eliminate the currently expected policy violence in our state, and be it further
Resolved that by providing financial backing to a renewed focus on rebuilding systems damaged by COVID-19 in such a way that will meet and surpass the national standards of trauma-informed systems, the state of Illinois will be able to move to focus on healing. We urge you to join IPAJ and our legislators in supporting this resolution on trauma-informed care.